What is going on, guys? It's PokePond back with another video for you. This is an absolutely insane episode today. I'm so excited to bring this one to you. It's an extra long episode because there are just so many deals, so many plays in the market right now. The market is absolutely exploding in price when it comes to sealed product. Make sure you watch the full video because there's so many different sets where there's massive plays to be made and you don't want to miss them. If you're new, make sure you subscribe down below to never miss an opportunity. Let's get into it. As always, we're going to go through and have a look at all of the sealed sets that are doing bits and are good plays and investments over all of Scarlet and Violet and Sword and Shield era at the moment. I'm going to go into a bit more detail into some of the other sets later on in the video. Some of the sets are really, really good plays, and I feel like that should be the focus of the video, and we're going to push a big analysis on them later on in the video, so make sure you stay tuned to see which sets I really recommend. But we're going to start off with obviously the most recent, the most popular sets at the moment. So we're going to start off with Destined Rivals. We always tend to start off with Destined Rivals because it is such a good set, it's so hype, and it is the most recent one to come out. And I know a lot of people are trying to time the market on when to move into Destined Rivals. We've been calling it for a long time that it's fine to come in at this price point. It's such a good set that I think that as long as you're prepared to hold it for our recommended time frame, you know, at least 2 years, to be able to ride out any waves of reprints that may decrease the price or whatnot, then I think that it's very safe to buy in at this price point. Yes, it might be a little bit cheaper in 6 months, 8 months time if they do big print waves, but I really don't think so. Even if they do that, I don't think it's going to affect the price that massively, and we can kind of see that on the chart now. It had a lot of demand on release and it's holding at a decent price point. It's actually gone up on the average price on TCG Player over the last week. Last week it was averaging around about $247, and you can see now last sales $253, so actually a few dollars more than last week, rather than it coming down in price like a lot of people predicted. I get a lot of hate on this channel when people disagree with my opinions because they're like, oh well, obviously it's going to come down in price as you get further away from the release. Well, not necessarily. It's such an in-demand set and everyone is ripping it so much. It's just such a fire set with the Chase Mewtwo card. What really helps a set is not just the hype behind it, but having a real strong Pokemon and a strong chase card to carry the set. And that's what Destined Rivals has. Everyone is obsessed with Team Rocket as well, so it's got that really good sort of IP within an IP push behind it. That's intellectual property, you know, it's got that Team Rocket branding on it. It's going to be one of those iconic sets that in the future we're going to look back and remember as well, which really helps influence the price. I do think that if you start looking to the longer time horizon, like 2 years from now, once it starts going out of print, the supply is just going to go down so quick because people are still going to be ripping it, chasing it. People are also going to be FOMOing into it and buying into it to put away into sealed collections, so they're taking those off of the market. The price is going to go bananas in 2 years time when this goes out of print. In fact, probably before then as well, because the chances of them doing big print waves right at the end of its print window are quite slim. They might do some small print waves, but they're just going to get eaten up so quickly because people are FOMOing into it as it goes out of its print window. So I do think that Destined Rivals is one of the strongest modern Pokemon sets to buy into right now, even at this price point. So let's have a look then at eBay sales. So last sale for eBay in the US is $275. That is crazy that a booster box is still holding such a premium out of the gate. To be charging nearly $300 a box just shows how strong the set is and how much demand there is for it. Yes, there's a lot of people that think, oh well, they're just going to turn the printers on and they're just going to, you know, print out as much as they can. What do you think they're doing? That is exactly what they're doing now, and it's still holding at $275 a box. How much can they actually increase that print run, and how long does it take them to keep ramping up production? Because it's not just like an endless scale where they can just print as much as they can. There's a lot of logistics behind that. I personally think that even if they ramp up production 2x, which would be a huge undertaking for them to be able to put together and do, and it would take them a long time, probably close to a year's time to really start cranking out double the Destined Rivals product that they are now. Not to mention that by that time they're going to be more focused on bringing out the new era of Pokemon, the Mega Evolutions era. I don't see them keeping up with this demand. I see the price going in one direction. It may temporarily, over the next 6 to 8 months, drop down a little bit if there's a load that flood the market. But as soon as they start drawing their attention more to printing out the new era, which they will, it'll come round quick, then Destined Rivals is going to go to the moon. So I'm more than happy to even buy in at this huge price point. I think that it's going to be one of the best performing mainline sets from the Scarlet and Violet era. You just need to give it some time. Last sale in the UK is £198. This is a new listing, so it got bought out straight away. Sub £200 is nuts. I've got quite a few behind me on the shelf there. Bought all of them. I averaged out to around about that price point only because I managed to get some for retail and I was lucky. So most of the ones that I bought from eBay and the secondary market were in the 205, but the later ones were more around like the 212 range. If we scroll down a little bit more, look, 220 they're selling for with postage, so 225. That's like an all-time high for Destined Rivals right there. So that's something really interesting to bear in mind. If you're new to the channel and you're wondering why I'm looking at US and UK markets, that's what we do here on the channel. I'm UK based, but I track both markets. So I let you know the plays, whether you're in the US or whether you're in the EU. And by tracking the global markets, we can get a much better idea on what's going on internationally with the demand for these products. Because a lot of it is supply and demand logistics. So if you're out of stock in the US but we've got stock here but it's still not really shifting, that might indicate that the reason why you're having an inflated price point in the US is purely just because it's not available on shelves. And then when we expect to see a bit more of a restock, you may see prices come back more in line with the EU and whatnot. There's so many comparisons that we can make between the two markets. And time again, it's led us to be able to make some of the most accurate predictions on YouTube. And I put my neck out there. Every week I'm making price predictions. I'm giving you realistic price targets and timeframes like no one else is doing on YouTube. And we just read the data. We don't trade emotionally. We read the data and we use that to call the shots. My personal career, away from this, I work full-time. I am a data analysis. I do this full-time for a living. I spot trends and I try and see where markets are going. And that is why you need to subscribe down below to never miss an opportunity. I will point out all of these plays to you. There's a lot of people in the hobby right now that are reluctant to buy in and spend more because they're like, oh, everything's at the peak of the market. It's so hype. I'll wait till everything settles down. Telling you guys, now is the time to move in. I'm buying more than I've ever bought. This week, full transparency, you might notice behind me, we have a new 151 Elite Trainer box. Partly because I believe in 151, partly because I really wanted an Elite Trainer box because I'm a collector as well. And we also have a PC ETB of Paldean Fates. Just because I love Paldean Fates. I own quite a lot of Paldean Fates anyway in the back, the normal ETBs, and that's more of a collection piece, and a friend was selling it, so I was more than happy to bring that into my collection. Let's have a look then at the next set. Let's have a look at Prismatic Evolutions. To summarize, Destined Rivals is a good buy right now. Prismatic Evolutions is kind of crazy. We actually very accurately called the bottom of the market here around June 10th, saying that it was anything sub $100 is absolutely ludicrous at this stage and you should just buy it out. Obviously, we've been seeing people panicking with the Costco prints and the bundles and stuff like that. Really hasn't affected the price. If anything, it's just continuing to increase in price. That being said, there is huge opportunities in the market right now, and we will go into that a little bit later in the video, at buying out the weak hands. And what I mean by that is people are dumping product left, right and centre because they're scared that this is the top of the market, and some of the swings in price are absolutely insane. You'll see some of them later on in this video, so make sure you stay tuned. Price point now, last sales, it's like $107, $108. I told you guys, anytime you see anything under $100 for Prismatic Evolutions, it's an instant buyout, because it's never going to crash if a third of the market have that market mentality that anything under $100 is a crazy bargain and will just buy it out. That just means it won't ever dip below $100 for more than like a day, because people like me will just jump on it and buy it out. It is a no-brainer, and it very quickly bounced up, and this is its average range now, around about $110, $108. There's 10 here selling today, in fact, for $108. I still think that's a bargain as well for that price, guys. Prismatic Evolutions is going to be an absolute monster long term. Like I said, once it goes out of print and there's no more of those ETBs floating around, we can already see what's going on with 151, and 151's not out of print, but it's getting close to it, and that's really up there in price at the moment. It's more than double the price of Prismatic at the moment for the ETBs. I would not worry. Now is the time to start stacking these up. It really is. If you're trying to time the market and get it for as cheap as you can, I think you're going to be disappointed. I don't see any world where it's going to be below $100 for any length of time. Worst case scenario, Costco's are absolutely flooded across the world with Prismatic Evolutions ETBs. If they do that, price drops down below $100 for a maximum of like 3-4 months, while everyone just works through buying it all and ripping it all up. It would be a frenzy, but then it will just bounce back up to this price point as well. There's no way that this isn't over $200 a box as it goes out of print in like 2 years time. There's no way you don't double your money in 2 years. In fact, I think more than likely you'll double up and you'll be over $200 much sooner than that. Let's have a look then at price points. Look at this. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Last sold in the US, $99.97, under $100, only 3 cents under $100. But look, it's still got the new listing tag. It just got bought out instantly because the market knows that that's just a crazy price for that. So it just gets bought out instantly. Last sale before that on the same day, $109. So look at the swing in price. Look, here's another one. Someone dumped one for $90. Again, new listing, and it just sold out instantly. Whoever dumped that is crazy, because they could have put that up for $99.97 like this guy, and it still would have sold instantly. And look at the price swings. This is what I'm focusing on this video. The price swings are crazy between the weak people dumping it and the people that understand the market. Okay, look at this. Look at this price swing. Look, I don't even need a calculator for this. This is easy numbers. So, $90 on a buy it now. Absolute dump. Someone just dumped that, chucked that on the market, wanted to cash out, get out of their position for whatever reason. Probably a flipper or a reseller or something like that. Okay, $90 is madness. I'm not surprised someone bought that out. Next sale, same day, $20 more. What is that? What is 20 on 90? What's the percentage? 22% price swing between 2 sales on a buy it now. This is what I'm saying. And then look, another dump back down 10%. So there's so many deals to be had right now, guys. You want to time the market and get stuff for 10%, 20% cheaper, you don't need to wait. Just look for these stupid people that are just dumping out of positions on some of the best sets we've ever seen in the hobby. It's absolutely crazy right now. Last sales in the UK, look at this. Pokemon Center exclusive, 167. Normal version, 109. That's gone up in price. That's creeping up there in price. We were seeing them for like 105, around about that £100 range just a couple of weeks ago. Starting to creep up there in price. I think that Prismatic Evolutions is a fantastic buy right now. But look how many tabs I've got open, guys. nearly all of these are plays to be had at the moment. You can put your money in so many places right now and do well, as long as you're willing to ride the roller coaster for at least a little while to ride out any potential waves or dips, because there will be dips and ups and highs and lows, and the market drop down a little bit. But I'm telling you, when these sets start to go out of print, people will go insane for them, and now is the time to acquire them. It really is. Let's have a look at Pokemon Center US then. Look at stock levels. This won't take long. Absolutely nothing in stock. Not a single product in stock, which is kind of crazy in my opinion. In the UK, nothing worthwhile in stock. We've got a Pokemon Go Premier Deck Box Holder collection that no one wants, and a collection box, and some Trick or Trade booster bundle packs from 2024 that no one wants. Kind of crazy. What's really interesting, right, that I've noticed this week that I wanted to point out to you guys on Pokemon Center, I don't know if this is a mistake they've made. So look at this. On the US one, there's nothing in stock, okay? So there's no option here to filter by what's in stock. And that's usually the case when there is nothing in stock, because you can't filter to nothing. Fair enough, the button disappears. What's really interesting is we've got product in stock here in the UK, be it rubbish product, but there is product here. There would always be a button here so that I could filter to show just what was in stock, and they've removed it. And I wonder why that is. Is it because they're embarrassed and they don't want you to filter the page anymore to show how little product they actually have in stock? Don't know. Just thought that was quite interesting to point out. Our Pokemon Center ashamed about the fact that they can't keep anything in stock for collectors at a retail price. I don't know. I just thought it was funny. Let's move on now to Surging Sparks. Surging Sparks is actually just so volatile in price right now. We've talked about it quite a lot. When it was round about this stage, around about the bottom of the market that it's been so far, around about $224, I pointed out to people that it was a really good buy for that reason, because at that price point, although it's way over retail, it puts it as one of the cheapest booster boxes on the market, and it doesn't deserve to be at all. Now, Surging Sparks is in a very dangerous situation, and I'll explain why. Everything pre-Surging Sparks is in one block of rotation in the TCG, in one rotation of being printed. Everything Surging Sparks later has a much higher chance of getting reprinted, because it's in sort of like the next block of the grouping of sets. It's how they do things. Basically, if you look at any card, you will be able to see on the very bottom of the card, in the corner right there, you'll see a letter, and this one has a H on it, and that determines which block it's in for competitive play in the TCG, and those blocks get rotated out over time. Now, reprints generally happen within roughly a 2-year window. That's nothing that you can like fully rely on, because they have been known to print stuff out of 2-year window, but it gets less and less likely as you get to that 2-year range. Also, around about that time, you start to see the official letters of the sets start to rotate in and out of play. When things rotate out of play, it's very unlikely that they will reprint it. So everything pre-Surging Sparks, I think we're going to see a big run up in price very soon, because that's going to go out of print a lot quicker than people realize. I personally think that we're talking about end of spring next year, so less than a year away, we're going to start seeing those sets go out of print, like officially. In the lead up to that, I think that between now and then, reprints on those sets, everything pre-Surging Sparks, is going to get very, very unlikely. But we can't guarantee no more reprints until April, May sort of time next year. But that's going to come around real quick. I don't think people understand how quickly that's going to come around. So, Surging Sparks, dangerous spot for reprints. However, I think that given the market and the average price, like the cheapest booster boxes you can get in Scarlet and Violet era right now is at around about $200 to like the average being more around the 210 to 215 range. Seeing Surging Sparks here last sold at 225, it's right down there at that average, you know, not far away from the bottom. I think if you got a really good deal, you could get one of the worst sets out of Scarlet and Violet, like a Paradox Rift or something, around about $200 if you're really lucky and you snipe a deal. But generally, the cheapest sets are around about $210 if you're talking about a buy it now. Surging Sparks for $15 over the cheapest sets is a no-brainer to me. It's a good time to buy in. Like I said, as long as you're willing to hold it for a little while, then I think you'll do well. And you're seeing kind of crazy price volatility in it where people really aren't sure where the price should be. When it starts dipping down to around about this 220, 215 range, people are like, whoa, 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 that's too cheap. And it starts bouncing up in price again. So although the last sale is 225, that looks like a bit of a dump to me because the last sales before it, even today, it was selling for 243, 250, yesterday 250, 246. So really we're around about that 250 range. So if you see anything around 225, 230, I think that's a really good pickup. But don't worry too much about trying to time the market. I think even if you buy in at 250 a box, I think you're doing well with Surgeon, as long as you're willing to hold it. Last sale on eBay in the US, look at this, 225. I think that's a good deal, you know. 219 in the UK, but look at this, 290, so 220 a box in the UK last sold from yesterday. Scroll down a little bit. Someone got one on an auction for sub £200. That's a really good buy, and this is what I'm talking about sniping people that are dumping product. Personally, I don't see why you would sell Surging Sparks now. Unless it was a complete flip and you managed to scalp it and find it somewhere for retail and you just want quick money, chuck it up on an auction, see what happens, get 200 quid. Like, you know, make your, I don't know, £30 scalp. But anyone who's knows anything about investing or sealed product or even collecting, there's just no reason to sell Surging Sparks right now. So all these people that are dumping for crazy prices, look at the difference in price. That's a 10% swing between two deals right now. And you'll see even bigger swings coming up later in this video when we start looking at some other sets. A lot of people are dumping in the market right now, and the deals to be had all around if you know what you're looking at and you watch these videos and you know your price points. I'm always going to keep you up to date with these price points so that you don't have to track it, because it's a lot to track each week. Instead, you can just load up my video. I understand they're long videos, but the idea is you just pop it on, maybe put it on in the background, listen to me while you're doing some jobs. It's podcast style, you know, it's relaxed, it's comfortable. Sit down, have a drink. Hey, you can come back to the video. You can watch 10-15 minutes now. You could watch another 20 minutes tomorrow. Over the week, I will let you know everything that's going on in the market so you can keep up with everything and so that you don't miss any plays as well. Also as well, if you're into any of these products, which a lot of you are, if you're holding these products, I'll tell you when things are breaking out in price. You don't have to worry. You don't have to keep checking on it. I will let you know every single Saturday without fail. I will bring you a video like this and let you know what's going on in the market. Let's have a look at Journey Together then. Journey Together, the graph on TCG Player has been broken for a while. A Journey Together is a very dangerous set to buy into, in my opinion, unless you get it for a good price. I personally think that Journey Together is overpriced for what it is right now, purely because the market is just wild. I think that Journey Together, you're going to see a lot of people dump it very soon as they realise that it's not the strongest set going forward. Now, if you can get it on a dumped price anywhere near $200, I think it's a great buy for the long term. but I think it's 15 to 20% overpriced now, and it should be around that $200 to $210 range. Last sales here around about $234. I think that that's overpriced. If you're willing to hold it for a couple of years, fine. I think that it will do well, okay, but I think it's going to get outpaced by other sets in Scarlet and Violet. I think that it's a decent pickup if you can get it for a good price, and I think that you're going to see more and more opportunities to buy into it for around about that $200 range over the next 6 months. Let's have a look at sales on eBay US. So $220 here for the enhanced version, nice minty box. I don't think that's a bad buy long term. I think that's certainly better than the $235 odd on TCG Player. Although with US, I know that your taxes are a bit different, so that varies between eBay and TCG. So I'm not 100% sure on that. But here we go. Look, non-enhanced version for $200. That's not a bad buy, and that's from an official store as well. So I think that we can move into it for that price point. I think that if you're talking about 230, 240, you're starting to place it towards the higher end of the average price of the Scarlet and Violet sets, and I don't think it deserves to be there at the moment. But for $200, even though it's a non-enhanced version, I think that that is a decent buy long term. So look out for deals out there. Last sale in the UK, enhanced version for $203. Again, I don't think that's too bad for the enhanced version. Let's have a look. Look, this is what I'm talking about. Non-enhanced version, £161. If you include the postage, that is bang on retail. Retail is like 165, 166. That is dead on. Look, retail price in this crazy market for Journey, that is a good buy. Those are the kind of deals you're looking out for. Here's another one. Look, sub retail, 162 all in, 163 all in. Good buy. I know they're the non-enhanced versions. At that price point, it doesn't matter. If you're paying sub retail for minty sealed booster boxes right now of Scarlet and Violet, I don't think you can lose. I think that that is a really good buy. I think the US market is still a bit overpriced at the moment for it. And I think that that's going to change over the next 6 months. You're going to see more deals as people start to dump them in the US real soon. Keep your eyes peeled on those. Let's talk about Paldea and Fates. I don't talk about Paldea and Fates enough. The reason why is because I steered away from it over the last few months because I think that it is a really strong set, but part of what is increasing its value so much on the Elite Trainer box is scarcity. There aren't many of these around because we didn't have massive reprints of this. They were available for a decent amount of time around about when it came out and for a few months after. I actually bought loads from Amazon for sub-retail. I could buy as many as I want. There was no register for an invitation to buy or anything like that. It was a no-brainer for me. I ended up buying loads for, I think it was £45 each, these Elite Trainer boxes. I've sold most of them now for more than double. I sold them for 105. So what's that, like 110, 115% profit? More than 2x on that. I think that they will continue to do well. The reason why I wasn't talking about them of recent is because of that. Because I was worried about telling people to buy in for around about this 180, 190 range. It's dangerous because it was due a big reprint. As time has gone on and a few more months have passed, it's becoming less and less likely we're going to see more reprints of this Elite Trainer box. So I feel safer in recommending it as a good purchase. It's had a crazy run up in price, like I said, because these are scarce, and I think that it's going to continue to grow. It's a great set. It's one of my favorite sets because it's got two of the best chase cards of the era, in my opinion, and two of the most underrated chase cards of the era. We've got the Bubble Mute and the Dark Charizard SIR cards. I think that it's going to continue to increase in price, and it's on a bit of a run at the moment. The last 3 months, it's up 45%. I still think it's a decent price to buy into, even at this level. Last week, we were averaging $182. Last sales, $186. But then, 2 days before, $220. 220 is an all-time high, and like quite a bit above an all-time high as well. So you take the average between the two of them, we're talking what, 205? That's up like 15, 16 bucks. You're like, oh, okay, 15, 16 bucks. That's not much of a rise in the last week. Yeah, but that's nearly a 10% rise. That's like 8, 9% rise in a week when it's already up 45% in the last 3 months. It's going to start accelerating really quickly. Paldean Fates is one to watch. It really is. But don't worry about it. If you can't afford to buy into it, I've got so many more tabs to go through. There's deals everywhere right now. It angers me so much to see some of these clueless Pokemon YouTubers that are saying that the market is oversaturated and there's nothing to buy right now, and that everything's going to go to zero. Well, they don't say everything's going to go to zero, but they say that the whole market's going to crash and you're going to lose out completely. You're not going to lose out on Paldean Fates. Paldean Fates is not going to crash to the floor because they're not going to have levels of reprints that are going to do that. If there are any reprints at all, people like me, people like some of my viewers that are watching, we are going to buy all of them out so quickly. Mark my words. Hey, if I need to start ordering them from US eBay as well, if US drops Paldean Fates and it's available for retail in the US, I'll order them. I'll order them and arbitrage them to the UK. I don't even care. Like, it is such a good set. It's going to do so well with time going on. Let's have a look at last sale in the US then. Look at this, $174. Look how much this has gone up recently. $174. You could buy these for like $50, $60 not that long ago. Well, no, what's retail in the US for an ETB? Like $70? I guarantee Amazon had them for $70 for months, and you could have bought as many as you wanted. Now they're $174. Absolutely ludicrous. Here's one going for $190. 2 days ago, $190. Nuts. Absolutely nuts. $180. Buy it now. These will do really well with a bit of time. Like, we're talking about sets that are going up 30, 40% in a few months. Okay? What's going to happen when it's out of print and it's officially out of print? Where's this set going to be at? If it's knocking on the door of $200 now, where's it going to be in 2 years from now? Just ask yourself that question. It's as simple as that. It really is. There's so many plays to be had right now. Now is the time to acquire and to buy into these sets. We can already see that they're performing well. That gives you that data. That gives you that confirmation. Okay, you can buy brand new sets and trade emotionally in the fact of, oh, I think this is going to go up, and oh, there's a good chance because people like it, and because there's this chase card and that hero, that Pokemon always does really well, so then maybe this is a play on this. You can do that. That's fine. But if you just buy in a little bit later, like now into Paldean Fates, you can see the data. There's no question that it's going in one direction. It's easy, guys. It really is. Let's have a look at Twilight Masquerade then. Twilight Masquerade is another one of those sets where you just cannot deny the data. Up 30% in the last 3 months. Last 6 months, it's up 60%. So we're averaging what? 10% a month? Something like that? It's going to start accelerating. We've been calling this on Twilight Masquerade since before it was below retail. Well, since it was below retail, since before it was retail. This sat around, this set, and I knew it was a fire set. This sat around for way below retail across all global markets. In the UK, you could pick it up. Not that long ago, I was telling people on this channel, I was telling my subscribers to buy into it heavy when it was £120. You could pick it up for £120, £130. You could pick it up for 15%, 20% below retail. And you could buy them all day long. And I'm not even talking about trying to time it with getting it from an online store or something. They were just on the secondary market on eBay. You could have ordered as many as you wanted. I was telling you guys for weeks and weeks to buy into it. But the people that listened are doing well now. The people that didn't listen are regretting it, and they've got remorse for not buying it. I'm always pointing out plays to you guys. Don't feel like it's FOMO and you missed out on it. Look how many plays I've already said in this video, and we're not even halfway through these tabs, okay? There is so many opportunities in the market right now if you pay attention to videos like mine. I will help you, I will educate you in how to spot these trends, in how to see these sets increase in price going forward. I've been doing this a long time. I've been doing YouTube and making accurate predictions for nearly a year and a half now. If you go back and look at any of my videos, I make predictions in all of them. Nearly all of them have come true. And if they haven't come true yet, they're on the way to becoming true. And there's so many people out there on YouTube that give bad takes. They really do, because they don't analyze the data and they don't know. I've been doing this for over 10 years. Okay, I've seen markets go up, go down. I've lived through multiple bear markets. I've lived through multiple hype markets. Okay, we're at a very special time in the hobby right now. And yes, we are at the peak of the market. We're right up at the top. But these sets are safe from the bubble bursting, in my opinion. At worst, they'll drop down in price for a few months. At best, they will just continue to climb like these. We're just seeing continued growth on Twilight Masquerade, and it's not too late to buy into these. I think even if you buy in at these price points, let's look at the change. Let's look at the change on last week. Last week, the average was 280 on the average price. Now we're going 284, 284, 284, 287. Every sale is more. Every week we're smashing through all-time highs. It's not even out of print yet. Once this rotates out of print, we're talking April, May, June sort of time, most likely. Probably early April, to be honest. Things are going to go mad and it's going to start accelerating. Mark my words. Scarlet and Violet is going to outperform Sword and Shield. Maybe not Evolving Skies. We'll put Evolving Skies in a separate box because that's the same thing. For anything to outpace Evolving Skies, there's got to be something super special. And I don't think we've seen that yet. Potentially, Prismatic in time could go that way. But those are very big boots to fill. And time will only tell whether it can keep up with the monster that has been Evolving Skies. I think that Twilight Masquerade is still a buy-in at this price. You know, even though it's at an all-time high and you're just like, yeah, but that price is crazy because it was like 230 not that long ago, or it was 180, or it was sub-retail. It doesn't matter. Stop having a price memory on these things. The market has moved. The market will continue to move. Very soon, sub $300 for Twilight Masquerade is going to seem insane, and you won't see it. I guarantee it. Let's have a look then at last sales in the US, $265 on an auction. People are starting to buy into these now. People are starting to realise, more and more people are starting to FOMO into Twilight Masquerade. This is your last chance to get Twilight Masquerade for under $300. Very soon it will be over $300, and I don't think it will ever drop below it again. In the UK, £208. Decent. I was calling it out when it was sub-retail. I was calling it out when it was £140, guys. Now we're at 208. We're starting to see my predictions come true. This is the brilliant thing about YouTube. Okay, there's checks, there's balances, there's receipts. It's all there for you. I keep all of my videos public. Go back and watch one of those previous videos. They're quite an eye-opener. It really is. To see where the market was, to see me making predictions on products that no one wants for under retail, to see them now just a few months later starting to ramp up in price is brilliant. I love it. And this is what I love. This is why other Pokemon YouTubers, and I'm being very careful with my words here, I'll never call anyone out unless they start something with me. But I don't like to spread hate. But I'm just being honest, okay? A lot of these other Pokemon YouTubers, even the channels that started off like mine, even the ones that started off doing lots of price predictions and stuff like that, a lot of them stay away from it now. Or if they do make predictions, they make very safe and tame and timid predictions. They might make a 20-minute long video and make one prediction, which is an obvious prediction, okay? Look at these tabs. Look how many tabs I've got up every single week. Every single week I'm telling you what's going on in detail with prices and where they're going. And every week they're coming true. Go back, have a look. It's all there. All my receipts are there. And I think that's why I love you guys so much, and we're building such a strong community here, because you guys see how real I am. I'm putting myself out there so that we can all do well together. I'm not trying to hide, I'm not trying to shill, I'm not trying to keep all of these secrets to myself, I'm not trying to price manipulate on stuff I own. Look, I'm showing you the whole market every week. How can I hide a set when I show you every set that's moving? Okay, I give you that unique perspective that no one else does. And that's why you should subscribe down below to never miss an opportunity and support this channel. If this video means anything to you, please hit that like button, because it means so much to me. It pushes my videos out there further, and it lets us grow our community. And we welcome our brothers and sisters into this community, because we are all getting rich together. It's not about trying to keep it away from other people in the market. We're such a small drop in the ocean. Okay, we could grow to 100,000 subscribers and we still wouldn't influence these markets. I could tell everyone to buy Twilight Masquerade. I could tell 100,000 people to buy Twilight Masquerade. 2% of those people would actually follow through and do that. We would have no effect on the market. We need to welcome our brothers and sisters into the market, the real people who care about Pokemon and just enjoy collecting sealed product. It is a part of the hobby that a lot of the community look down on, and I hate that. Okay, it's an inclusive hobby. I get that. I get it. We don't like scalpers fighting for product in stores and stuff like that. Don't label us with that brush. We're not that. We collect sealed product because we enjoy it. Okay, I'm a collector as well. It's no different from you guys buying, or other people in the hobby buying slabs. It's no different in my eyes to buying slabs. To me, slab is a sealed single. It just is. And people buy and sell and trade them all the time. They go to shows. Those are the same people that look down on us for buying, selling and trading sealed. It's the same thing. It really is. Anyway, rant over. Otherwise we're going to be talking for more than an hour again. It's becoming a meme on the channel. I always talk for an hour without meaning to. I never have a timer or anything. We always end the video and it's always like almost dead on an hour. It's like an hour and 8 minutes. I don't know how I do it every time. It just happens. Bear in mind, there's no cuts. There's no edits. This is just podcast style. I'm not even taking a drink. I'm just going. I'm rolling. I'm flowing. This is me. This is my raw self, putting myself forward. Let's talk about the worst sets in the Scarlet and Violet era right now. Then this will trigger people for me saying that they're the worst sets. But when I say that, it's purely from a data point of view. Okay. Now, personally, I don't like these sets anyway, but that shouldn't worry you because that's just my opinion. But from a data point of view, these are the worst performing sets for the amount of time that they've been out. We're talking about Paradox Rift. Paradox Rift is increasing in price. Paradox Rift, however, though, is one of the cheapest sets right now. We're seeing last sales of $215, $212. There's one here from yesterday for $202. That is the cheapest Scarlet and Violet set on the market right now. Temporal Forces, similar situation. I think Temporal Forces is a slightly better set, and that's why we're starting to see a bit of an increase and a little bit of a run up in price on it. Last sales $216, $227, $230. Now, this brings up a very good point that I was trying to make earlier. Surging Sparks at $225, Temporal Forces at $230. Can you see now why Surging Sparks is a buy at $225? Just putting it out there, okay? Surging Sparks, massively underpriced in my opinion. And I think once it's been given the time, it will start outpacing things like Temporal, Paradox Rift. It will start eating these lower sets. I'm being careful with my words because I don't want to offend someone. Temporal Forces is a good set. I love the artworks, but it doesn't perform that well. Same with Paradox Rift. That's all I'm trying to say. And given some time, stuff like Surging Sparks will start to climb up the ladder over it. That's all I'm trying to say. It will outpace it. Let's have a look then at last sold in the US. Last sold in the US, 205. Best offer accepted as well. So what did this even sell for? $200? Under $200? At 205, it's still the cheapest box on the market. So what did that accept for? And this was the point that I'm making this video. There's so many weak hands right now dumping product. To get any box of the era for the $200 range or below is ludicrous right now, let alone Temporal. Now, Tempora doesn't perform the best, but it's got some of the best arts. It's got some of the best chases. It's got some of the best SIRs. I think it will do really well long term. I really like Temporal Forces. And for that kind of price, that is a crazy play. Now, it's fine to buy less popular sets if you're getting it for mad prices like that. It really is. That is a really good play, whoever picked that up. I commend you if it was one of you. I hope it was one of you. 230. Best offer accepted. Don't know what that sold for either. Look at this. Import from Canada. $192 2 days ago. And best offer accepted. So it went for below $192. What? That's nuts. And then there's one here going for 230 on a buy it now. Interesting. Very interesting. Last sold in the UK. Look at this. 151. With postage, it's still under retail. We're getting under retail booster boxes in what's probably one of the highest hype cycles of all time. These people that are telling you there's no deals out there, you have to wait until the market cools off. How much cheaper do you want products? This is cheaper than you can get it from source. Like, I just don't understand it. I really don't. People who say that kind of thing are just uneducated. You should probably start switching those people off. That's all I'm saying. 151 Elite Trainer Box. We got a new one this week. Here we go. That. I think that's in there. Yep. So happy to get that in my collection. I've never had a 151 Elite Trainer Box in my collection. You can see I've got lots of booster bundles here because I've been buying into them because they're cheaper to buy into, so they're easier for me to justify buying one or two or something like that. You get a little bit of retail therapy buying a little booster bundle. To me, you know, a spare £60 isn't a huge amount of money, so I'm happy to buy booster bundles and stuff like that. The Elite Trainer Boxes are worth a lot more, so it's a lot harder for me to justify, you know, buying one of those. But I actually did a trade with a friend, so yeah, I'm well up on the deal because I traded for some older sealed that I've held for years. I did put the trade more into his favour just because I knew how much potential 151 has right now. 151 is exploding in price and it will continue to. I want to highlight something to you in a moment, but let's just have a look at the price. Price here, 245 last week on the average. Last sales, 247. 253, 250, lots of sales around about that 250 range, which is quite a bit of a run up in price it's had. And over the last 3 months, it's up 16%. Over the last 6 months, it's up nearly 50%. Over the last year, it's up 255%. Guys, what are we talking about? What are we talking about? 151 is going bananas. And it is going to continue to go mad. I think 151 is going to do crazy numbers this year. And I really don't think we're going to get any more reprints of the 151 Elite Trainer Box. And I think that's partly what's pushing up the value on it. And I want to point something out to you guys. Okay, so we are currently now on the 12th of July, 2025. Sorry, gosh. Look at the release date of 151. 151 release date, September 22nd, 2023. We are August, September. We are a month and a half, just over a month and a half away from its 2-year anniversary, and we know what that means. And we also know as well that they are very reluctant to print Elite Trainer Box speciality sets towards the end of their print window, because it's so difficult for them to put the logistics of assembling all the things. You might see another wave of booster bundles, because that's easy for them to put together. Think about it. It's just booster packs in a small bit of cardboard with a little bit of cling around them. Easy for them to produce that. They can probably do most of that in one factory. Elite Trainer Box has so many different things in it. You've got the promo cards, you've got the dice, you've got the sleeves, you've got just the packaging on the outside. Those are probably all coming from different factories, different countries, that kind of thing. It takes a lot more cost and a lot more logistics to put all of those together. We are very close to its 2-year anniversary, and I think that a lot of people in the hobby don't actually realise that we probably won't see any more 151 Elite Trainer boxes. Now is the time to buy into that. Me personally, I was happy to just get the one for my collection, and then I would prefer to buy into the bundles because it's cheaper to buy into and it's better pack to cost ratio. However, there is obviously always a premium on the Elite Trainer box, which will push it up in price, and that in turn will help push up the booster bundle price. I think both of them are good buys. I'm happy to have one in my collection, but personally, if I'm going to buy into more 151, I'm leaning more towards the booster bundles. Okay, let's have a look then at last sold in the US. $286. That is a hefty price point. This is going up in value a decent amount, and it's week on week on week. It's at all-time highs. 286, and that's on an auction as well. And then look, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Look, auction 286. Buy it now, 220. Same day. These are completed auctions. Okay, look at the swing in price. That's absolutely nuts. So what's that? $46. 46 on 220, and this was on a buy it now as well. 20.9%, 21% price swing between one sale yesterday. 151 is going to go vertical on its price chart. I guarantee it. 151 could have the best performing year out of all Scarlet and Violet sets. It definitely has the potential, because 151 is going to rotate out of play soon. 151 is pretty much bang on that 2-year print window. I don't think we're going to see any more ETBs. Out of interest, look how ludicrous this is. Hang on, let me try and find it. Look, PC ETB. $675 now. What? What is going on? Honestly, who is buying that now for $675? That's nuts. Let's move it on then. Last sold in the UK, 260. That's actually a little bit cheaper than what it's been recently. We had some going for around about the 280 range recently, but still, even if you buy in at that price point at 260, that's nuts. I think it's going to be double the price by next year. I really do. Okay, let's not say double the price. Let's say just under double the price. Let's call that a round number. £500, I think, by this time next year. 151. Okay. No, let me make that more realistic. 400. I think it could hit 500, but if we're talking about guarantees, there's no way it's not £400 in 12 months' time, in my opinion. Probably even sooner. It probably will hit that 500. I just want to be realistic with the chances of it hitting 500 in 12 months. It could, but I think 400, so another 140 on top. I think that could definitely happen. Let's talk about Paldea Evolved then. Paldea Evolved is another one of those monster sets that's just going to keep pulling away. People are really FOMOing into it now. It's probably going to go out of print early next year. I don't think we're going to see many waves of reprints between now and then. I mean, yeah, technically it's possible, but I don't think it's going to affect price point that much. Last week we were seeing around about the 370 range. Last sales. So we've got a mix here. We've got people dumping at 360, which is a little bit lower than last week. But then we've got 4 being dumped at 3. Well, not even being dumped. 4 selling for an all-time high at 380. So if we take an average between then, it's probably about the same as last week. But it's showing, look, there's swings in price here. Okay, and we're starting to see that across all of these sets, especially the ones that are heating up. It's a good sign to see because people are dumping and taking profit, and those are the people that we want to buy out, the ones that are selling for below market. And then you've got people that are just patient, putting it on as a buy it now for an all-time high, and then reaching that a week later, 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, as the market is moving up. And the market will continue to move up, in my opinion. I think Paldea Evolved is going to have a really good year. Over the last 3 months, it's up 60%. Over the last 6 months, it's up 84%. The Magikarp IR in a PSA 10 is doing crazy numbers right now, and it's being heavily bought out and price manipulated as well. That's influencing the price of the sealed as well, and increasing the price of the sealed more. It's also making people rip more of it as well as they chase and try and pull the Magikarp, which again is reducing supply and again putting upward pressure on the market. Paldea Evolved, I think, is going to have a crazy buyout on it. I think that a lot of money is going to flow into it, and it's going to happen quickly. Just like we saw the buyouts on the Sword and Shield stuff a couple of months ago. I think we're going to see big buyouts on some of the early Scarlet and Violet sets as well that are performing well, like Paldea Evolved, like Twilight Masquerade. It's going to be harder for them to do it on Twilight Masquerade because there's a lot more of that product around, but Paldea Evolved is getting rarer and rarer by the day on the secondary markets because A, it's getting ripped up, and B, people like me are buying it and putting it away, and we aren't selling it. Okay, we're holding that for years. Paldea Evolved is a cash cow, and I think everyone is starting to realise that. You put that away, you set it and forget it, you'll do well out of Paldea Evolved. That is a very good play right now. Last sold in the US, $330. The sale before that, $360, both on auctions. That's a 10% swing, again, between 2 sales. And these are both auctions. Weak hands are selling and taking profit. The smart money is moving in now. Let's have a look then at last sold in the UK. This is mad, right? So this is one guy that's obviously selling a whole case at once in separate auctions. You can tell it's the same guy because it's the same shot of the same booster box, and there's 6 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He sold 5 of them, so he probably sold 1 early. Look at the price difference in these. Look at the price move just as these sell throughout the day. This is the same person with the same booster boxes from the same case. Look at the price rise. Look, the first one to sell goes 270. The next one 275. The next one 291. They're bidding war with each other and moving the market up as these sell from the same case. 293 and then 289. Absolutely nuts. The swing in price there from 270 to the highest of 290 is nuts because it's on the same day from the same person from the same case. It's the same product, and we're live seeing the price go up. It's nuts. It really is. The market is alive right now, and I love it. Those people that say there's no place to be made because stuff is too overpriced and the market's too high are mad. They don't know what they're talking about. This is the most fun, most exciting time to be doing this kind of thing in the hobby. I'm so excited. I'm so exhilarated to be part of this hobby. I'm so happy to be making videos for you guys, to have you guys as a community around me. Make sure you subscribe down below to never miss an opportunity, because you know that I let you know all of these opportunities. Let's talk about the big boy, Evolving Skies. We've been talking about this for weeks, that it's just going to bounce on the ceiling of $2,000, and we're seeing that week on week on week. It just keeps coming true. Look at this. Right back to the 25th, it was at 2K. 2K, 1850, 1920, 1912, back up to 2K, back down again, 1912, back up to 2K, back down again, 1950. we're bouncing off of 2k. Once we break through and we get at least 7 sales over a decent amount of time and we break out over 2k, it's a quick run up to 2500, I guarantee you. It really is. Once we break through that resistance of 2k, it's never going below it again. It really isn't. We just need to see multiple sales over that, and the 2k resistance becomes 2k support. It really does. And then the next barrier is way up at $2,500. And once people start seeing it regularly sell over 2k, you'll get people FOMO in. And less. Like, the more Evolving Skies starts pushing into these crazy price targets, the less are for sale on the market. And then that makes it run up even quicker when it does. Okay? Because people who hold them, like me, start seeing it break out over 2k, and you're like, well, why would I sell now? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just clearly going to keep going up. And that mentality keeps just pushing the market up higher and higher. And all the ones that get bought just get taken off the market. Some that I sold earlier on in the year, I sold to people, and I was just like talking to them about the seal and stuff like that. Like, oh yeah, it's a really good seal. Don't worry, you know, if you're keeping it sealed. People were coming back to me just like, oh yeah, great, like that's good to know, but like, you know, we're looking forward to ripping it open, like hopefully we pull the Umbreon. And it's like, oh, like you're gonna open it, that's crazy. That's crazy that you're paying $2,000 a box and you're opening it. But that's what people do, you know, and every time that happens, that's one less on the market to sell next time, when the next time there's a run up in price. Evolving Skies, although it looks flat on the graph, it's just at that 2k psychological price point. Once it breaks through, and I'm not talking about if it breaks through, I'm talking about when it breaks through, it will have a quick run up to $2,500 and beyond, believe me. Let's have a look then at last sold in the US, 1950. That's right up there at that 2k range as well. Last sold in the UK. We are at all-time highs here in the UK. Not only are we at all-time highs here in the UK, at 1,700, over 1,700 pounds. Okay, 1,750. Let me show you this. I preloaded this up for you American people because you will be shocked by this. Do you want to know how much 1,750 pounds is in US dollars? What we're paying for it right now? $2,362. $2.3 thousand is what we're paying for Evolving Skies right here in the UK. And we're a much smaller market than you guys. But look, 3 sales on the same day for over $1,700. Okay? 3 sales, same day, $1,700. eBay US. Look how many sales I had to go through to find your last US to US sale. Look at how much time I had to go through to find it. Look. There's one, best offer accepted. They'd listed it at 2,200 and that was on the same day. So you sold 2 in that day. That's it. You sold 2 in that day across the entire US North American eBay market. We're selling 3 a day in our tiny little island for an all-time high for way more than what you guys are paying. Our market is starting to run and move ahead and FOMO into Evolving Skies. I think the US market is lagging behind a bit. I see a big opportunity there for you to start chasing our market. I think the US, in this situation, in this rare situation, I think our market is starting to explode first and starting to break out first. I think we're about to see it in the US market as well. The reason why you haven't seen it is because you're right on that 2k mark. And that is such a psychological barrier to break through. As soon as you break through that, you're going to 2.5k, because the international markets aren't at a 2k psychological barrier yet, and we're starting to accelerate out through to more all-time highs. I think that this is a brilliant opportunity if you've got that kind of bankroll to buy into Evolving Skies. I think we're going to see a massive breakout very soon. And when I say very soon, Could be 3 months. Could be 7 days. It's going to happen, though. It's really going to happen soon. Evolving Skies is one of the best sets of all time. Fusion Strike. Fusion Strike is actually quite heavily influenced by the Evolving Skies price, because Fusion Strike, where it's in the number 2 position, it benefits from the phrase a rising tide, i.e. Evolving Skies, lifts all boats. Okay. Evolving Skies having so much money flow into it and a big run on Evolving Skies benefits Fusion Strike. And it starts to pull up Fusion Strike and Lost Origin alongside it as well. Not that they can't run on themselves as well, but the breakout that I'm predicting that's about to happen on Evolving Skies is going to massively influence Fusion Strike. And I tell you what, there's not that much resistance ahead of it. The next big resistance points for Fusion Strike is the obvious round number of $1,000 a box, a banda box. Okay? And I think we're going to run up to that pretty soon. I think we're going to see $1,000 Fusion Strike box pretty soon, and then we're going to start bouncing off of that, just like how Evolving Skies is bouncing off of the 2K mark. Last sold in the US, $769. It's right up there at an all-time high. I think all-time high was like $800, but we're seeing consistent sales now, right up at that point, within $30 of it. I think that it's going to break out soon. Last sale here in the UK, £475. Just looks cheap. Even though this is expensive compared to how it was just a couple of months ago. A couple of months ago, you could get this for £300. Okay, market's moved on. Now it's a £500 box. And pretty soon it'll be a £700 box. Especially if the US starts pumping and it starts going to a K a box, there's no way we're not paying $700 for this. And $700 is quite a chunky increase in price for this. That's going to be, what, like a 40% increase? Run up in price? I see it happening. I really do. Lost Origin, similar situation. I think it's actually underpriced at the moment. We're right on that $500 mark. I don't see, with Fusion Strike pushing up to around about that $800 range, I don't see why Lost Origin is at $493. I think people are sleeping on Lost Origin. I think it's one of the best investments in Sword and Shield you can do right now. I think it's massively underpriced. Last sale in the US, bang on $500. It just looks cheap to me. It really does. I think that it's going to pull up to the $800, $900 range over the next year. And I think Fusion Strike is going to knock on that door of that $1,000 real soon. Let's have a look then at last sold in the UK. We're actually paying more for it in the UK right now. We're paying £516 for it, which is, I don't know, probably, if I had to estimate, probably like $600, something like that. Kind of crazy. Astral Radiance. I'm going to zip through a few of these quickly because there's not that big of a run up in price. Astral Radiance is pretty stable in price and has been. $370. Okay. Stable in price, but poised right at its all-time high. Within striking distance, all-time high, 413. Last sold, 373. So what? Within $40 of its all-time high? They're not making any more of it either. There is no way that Astral Radiance won't have a run-up in price. It's just going to take a few people to start buying it out, and it moves the market real quick, and then people start realizing and start buying into it more. If Fusion Strike and Lost Origin start knocking on the door of $1,000, there's no way Astral Radiance doesn't go up to 500 plus a box. There's no way. Brilliant Stars, their chart is broken, but it's knocking on the door of 400. Very psychological price point for it. It's been bouncing on and around $400 for a while. It's funny that we talk about that because it really wasn't that long ago. I'm talking about a month and a half, 2 months ago. It was knocking on the door of 300 and we were bouncing off the $300 price point. And I was saying to you guys, once it breaks over 300, nothing's stopping it getting to 400. And now we're seeing that. It really did just chunk up real quickly to that $400 range. Now it's knocking on 400. Exact same situation with Silver Tempest as well. Silver Tempest at an all-time high. Well, what's its all-time high? It's here, like 361 average a box. Last sale 350. But the sale beforehand 374, which is an all-time high. So it's at an all-time high or within $15 of the all-time high, and increasing in price. 33% price rise over the last 3 months. Silver Tempest is also poised in a very good position to have a quick run up to $400, and then once it breaks through $500 plus. I think we'll see a situation soon where like the main good sets of Sword and Shield, so I mean obviously you've got Evolving Skies, Fusion, Lost Origin, they're already there pretty much, but you're going to see your Silver Tempest, Brilliant Stars, Astral Radiance as well, all over 500 a box. I think that you can see that very soon, and you won't get them any cheaper than that. That'll just be it. The cheapest good sets will be $500 plus. Let's have a look at last sold then in the US. With that in mind, if we are talking about a realistic price point of $500 for Silver Tempest, last sale of $355 seems pretty good. And then look at the swing in price between auctions. Between two sales, in fact, that one's on the 7th. I don't know why that popped up on the 7th, because there's more sales since then. Yeah. So ignore that one from the 7th of $392. So it was knocking on the door of 400 right there on, when was the 7th? The 7th was 5 days ago. So 5 days ago, we got an all-time high there of nearly $400. I don't see it not having a run up to $500. So for its price point of $355 right now, it just looks really cheap to me. Especially when you're starting to see boxes like Paldea break out that are still in print that are around about that price point. Silver Tempest with that Lugia out of print? Are you joking me? Like undervalued, massively undervalued at the moment. So I really want to talk to you guys about, there's two main types of plays you can make in the market right now with sealed. You have two options. You can either go for your out of print Sword and Shield stuff that you know isn't going to get printed anymore, so it's more likely to have price manipulation, big buyouts, big volatile price moves to the upside, but you have to pay the premium to buy into it. You have to pay already 2x, 3x, 4x retail to buy into it now. Or you buy into Ultra Modern, which is more affordable now, with the prediction that it's going to perform well, but you get to buy in at that lower price point. And then you've got the middle ground, which is like early Scarlet and Violet, like your Twilight Masquerade, your 151, your Paldea Evolved, which are already starting to accelerate, but they're technically still in print. So those are your options. I think they're both good options, but it just comes down to you as a buyer, what you want. Okay, because it's not all about the money, especially for me as well. I care about what's in my collection too. If, say, for example, Paradox Rift was $90 a box right now, would I buy into it? Yes, because it's a good buy. Would I only buy into that for the next year? No, because I don't want just Paradox Rift in my collection. Part of it for me as well is about the collection. And you can, the nice thing about sealed is you can make good financial decisions while still being a collector as well. And that's what I love about it. And I'm sure that's what a lot of you guys love about it as well. You can collect the cool sets that you really want while still making good financial decisions. Let's have a talk about Crown Zenith then. Crown Zenith just continues to break all-time highs. It's just so consistently going up in price. It's one of the best sets in the Sword and Shield era, particularly for holiday sets or specialty sets, whatever you want to call it. Last week it was averaging $176. This week, last sold $200 at an all-time high. Okay. Last sold in the US, $174. Another one here, best offer accepted, $200. $200 with a blister. That one looks very sus. Oh, that's from December. Randomly it just popped up in there, even though I'm filtered for last sold. $160 there from yesterday. So $160 looks pretty good as a price point when you're seeing them go for $200 on TCG. Or $174 here. That's quite a swing up in price. That's $14 in one day. So 14 divided by 160. They're both buy it nows as well. 8.7% swing between one day on eBay sales. Seems like an opportunity to me, guys. I think that very quickly we'll be over $200 a box, and regularly over $200 a box now. So even buying in at 175 still seems like a really good buy to me. Last sold in the UK, 187. Look at this, all-time high. With postage, over 200, 201 a box. Nuts. Absolutely nuts. One of the best, most consistent performing buys right now. Especially for under $200. For not too much of a price outlay in the Sword and Shield era. A fantastic buy, in my opinion. That's why you see some on my shelves up here. And they display well as well. I want to finish off by doing something a little bit different. I always like to do something a little bit different. This week, we're going to very briefly just do one of my favourite activities. This is what I do whenever I have a spare moment to myself. I like to search either the US market or the UK market on eBay. And all you need to do is type in Pokemon. You need to set your filters to sold items and set your filters to new items as well. Yeah, new and sold items, and type in Pokemon. And you will generally just see sealed, and you will see all of the sealed that has just recently sold today. And it's great for keeping an eye on what's going on in the market. And quite often you'll see products that you haven't really thought about, and you're like, are people starting to move into those or flip those? It's really interesting to see. So let's see, last sold things. A exclusive from the London pop-up Pokemon store event, which is a deck box selling for $75 in the US. I remember when that London event happened, I knew that people would be buying these because it's a limited run thing, so people will collect them. We're seeing some Steam Siege art set sell best offer accepted. I'd love to know what that sold for, but it was up for $80. Kind of crazy because everyone hated Steam Siege when it was out. It was known as like the worst set of XY, so it's mad to see the sleeve art sets going. It's not even an art set, it's two packs the same and then 2 packs the same. Bit weird to me, going for $80. It is getting up there in age though. We're seeing one Burning Shadows pack, one Burning Shadows loose pack, probably for someone's loose pack collection, going for a best offer accepted $18. Kind of crazy just to buy one single pack of Burning Shadows. Hope you pull the Charizard from that, but in one pack you are incredibly unlikely to get that, especially when some streamers opened 1,000+ packs and never pulled them. The Charizard from Burning Shadows, by the way, which is the main chase card, is one of the hardest to pull chase cards out of all sets, and that's why Burning Shadows is worth so much money, because that Charizard, and it's a rainbow Charizard as well, is just so impossible to pull. And it's one of those sets as well where it's like, it's chase card or bust. And it's so hard to pull that chase card. We're seeing some Vivid Voltage, Triple Blister in terrible condition because the packs are all over the place on the inside, of one of the worst performing sets of the Sword and Shield era, sell for $30 on a best offer accepted. This probably retailed for, I don't know, $12, $14 in the day, and someone held that for multiple years and sold it for a mystery amount of money, somewhere in the region of $30. And it shows that even some of the worst performing sets in sealed product can still go for massive premiums, given it a little bit of time once they go out of print. A Blooming Waters sell with a new listing tag, which meant it got bought out straight away for $115. And then we'll finish off on the one we kind of pointed out earlier. A buy it now for a Pokemon exclusive version of the 151 Elite Trainer box. The PCETB is a new listing, so it just got bought out instantly for $625, which is absolutely ludicrous. The PCETB of 151 has exploded in price, and I thought that was really interesting to see some of the sales that are going on across the US eBay markets. As I said before, guys, please do make sure you put a thumbs up on the video if you enjoyed the video or you got something out of it. It really does help me and it doesn't cost you a thing. Make sure you subscribe down below if you're new and you never want to miss an opportunity. I will always let you know what's going on in the market. Have yourselves a wonderful day and peace.